Good afternoon, and welcome back to Sow Heart-E Garden. My name is Erica. I'm going to do this intro video today. Um, I just wanted to kind of introduce myself to you all and talk to you about why I wanted to start this channel, how I started gardening, my journey in this whole thing. So, and the purpose of my channel. So, if you had asked me pre 2020 if I would ever get in the garden, dig in the dirt, go outside, let alone, my answer would be absolutely not. I never had a desire to do that. I never um, wanted to get dirty. I didn't like bugs. And so this wasn't, gardening was not a thing that I thought would bring me so much joy. We bought this house as at in 2020 September, and this was a house that we needed for me and my family. It's just me, my husband, and my daughter. And at the time that we bought this house, she was getting ready to turn 3. So we had only had experiences with apartments up until then. This was a home that we just needed more space, just more privacy, that kind of thing. The previous owners had some landscaping that they had done, and it was nice. I didn't know anything about it, didn't know what plants they had or didn't have, and at this point, it's going into the end of the season, so I wasn't really familiar. I was talking with some ladies at work, and they were telling me, Erica, you probably still can plant some bulbs like tulips or daffodils. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know. I didn't really like daffodils because it seems at that point a dime a dozen. Everybody had daffodils. I did know that I loved tulips. And so one day I did end up going to a local nursery here in Lincoln, and I picked up one tulip. They had kind of a bunch that were not bagged, so it wasn't like a collection of tulips, but just single tulips that you could pick up and make your own color scheme or whatever. So I picked up one tulip bulb, you guys, and I was so excited. I was so excited. I came home and I planted that one little tulip bulb, went back to work the next day and was telling everybody, I got a tulip. I got a tulip. I planted it. And as I was researching a little bit online, I came across a website where it tells you how to plant tulips and stuff. And so it was only showing me one tulip bulb would give you like one flower. And I was so confused because I'm thinking I'm going to get a beautiful garden of tulips with this one little tulip bulb. And so I asked one of my coworkers, I said, so if I only planted the one tulip, does that mean I'll only get one tulip flower? And she said, Erica, yes, yes, you only get one tulip. I said, oh my goodness. I said, I'm sure that lady at the nursery was looking at me crazy. But anyway, so I went and got a few more just to, make a slight impact um, in the garden. But the next year in 2020, that is when I learned about pruning, and I learned from the different YouTubers. We all have our favorites. Um, just the different varieties of plants and shrubs and perennials. And I learned what perennial was. I knew found out what an annual was, and what their purpose is in the garden. And I have this blank slate essentially of um, making this house my own. And so um, I did some research on everything, started to learn what I like, what I didn't like. I learned about sun conditions, learned about pruning and how certain plants can. take well to pruning and not others. So the house did have two big burning bushes at the front, and then like three or four boxwoods that seemed either sick or they were dying from the inside, something. And then they had a big stand of daylilies. And so I had asked my dad one day, like, hey, can you, trim up my bushes and stuff? And um, he said, yeah, of course. I felt like he had the tools, he kind of knew what he was doing. And he showed me some pictures, and I said, oh my goodness, you totally just butchered these plants. I said, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now? Um, And so that's kind of when we decided, let's have someone pull everything out. The old owners also had a big pine tree that was looking kind of um, either a pine or a spruce, something. I wasn't sure. On the side of the garage, and it wasn't looking very healthy. It was kind of too close to the garage structure. And so I did have a family friend of ours come over and take that tree down, as well as remove everything in the front landscape. And that really gave me a blank slate. Now, at first, I kind of started out with a container garden because I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, this is all I can do. Like, I can't dig in the dirt. I don't want to deal with bugs at this point. But I did want to a clean slate so I can kind of think about what I wanted. And so I did start with a container garden, tomatoes, different kinds of annuals, different kinds of herbs, that kind of stuff. And I can throw up a picture and show you kind of what that looked like. And I did that on my back porch at the time. A funny story about that is, I bought some tomatoes, not really understanding that there's a difference between determinate and indeterminate tomatoes, and they come like four in a pack. And so I put all four in a small little container. And I thought I was doing something. I was so happy. But as I understood more, I said, oh, this is an indeterminate tomato, so it's going to keep growing, and it needs definitely more than less. It only needs one tomato per container, so I did have to end up splitting that up. And so I did know that I loved hydrangeas, watching the other YouTubers and stuff like that, the channels, the differences in hydrangeas, learning what blooms on old wood versus new wood. At that point, I was really, oh, I just want a new wood hydrangea, because I was just aware of the old timey hydrangeas that, our mothers, grandmothers had or whatever in their yard, that would bloom that pretty pink or blue, or not bloom at all. And I definitely didn't want that. I wanted the new panicle hydrangeas that I could cut back, that would guarantee to bloom every year, that turn that nice pink in the late summer fall time. And oh, I forgot to mention, I'm here in Michigan in the zone 6A. So turn that pretty pink in the fall time. And so I started with that after we cleared out the landscape. I started with four little lime hydrangeas by Proven Winners. And then I knew that I love purple, and so I started with catmint as well. So again, the Proven Winners line, cat's pajamas. And you guys, it just grew from there into almost an obsession. I feel like I'm more obsessed with plant buying than I am with planting, if that makes any sense. The excitement and the joy just going into the nurseries and Home Depot or Lowe's, and looking at all the beautiful plants that you can choose from. And I also started to understand the USDA zones for gardening as well. And so yep, started with the little limes and kind of grew from there. Learned about spireas, learned about weigelas, Japanese maples, the evergreens, just the importance of having an evergreen structure in your garden. And so I started with, the front beds. I have one right off the porch here in front of me. and I have a bay window bed as well, and then a circle bed where that old pine or spruce or whatever it was used to be. And I expanded, from there. Now I have a bed on the south side of the home that I affectionately call Redbud Way. And I have a beautiful, oh, what is it? It's a flamethrower redbud. Sorry, I'm looking at my daughter. She's right behind the camera. A flamethrower redbud right at the end of that strip there, and so I call it Redbud Way. But anyway, you guys, that's kind of where I started, where I am. I've gotten the gardens developed enough where I feel like I can show other people. I do also want to. Oh, do you guys hear that beautiful breeze? Thank you, Jesus, for that beautiful breeze. It's been raining for the last oh, my hair. It's been raining for pretty much the whole week, and so it's just a welcome change to have the breeze going and the sunshine going. Anyway, I had to pause for that just to enjoy that moment. Um, I do also want to get my Master Gardener certificate and all that good stuff. So go through the class and everything, so I'm able to teach and able to volunteer as well. So the name of my channel is Sow Heart-E Garden. Sow, S-O-W, Heart-E. E after me and my daughter. And I really want to take the knowledge that I have and sow it into others, because we sow into our lives in various different ways, one being the words that we speak over ourselves and over each other, and in other ways and actions and deeds towards one another. And so I really want this channel to sow into other people's lives by gardening, by beautifying spaces. So that's kind of my goal on this channel is number one, being faith-based. Number two, sowing into your life, my viewers, other people's lives that I am connected with, and just hoping that this brings joy and inspiration to you all and the ones watching and the people that I help. And so this is a space for me kind of just to be creative and learning about, different ways that we can affect each other's lives, and also just loving God through it as well, and with through faith and by faith, having Him help us on this journey. So I hope that you guys stay tuned to watch me, garden and do different projects in others' homes. I do plan on doing my mom and dad's. I just did my friends, and you'll see that again posted later. Just enjoying what I have at my home here in Michigan. And I just hope that you guys will come along and follow me and really get inspired. And oh my gosh, I'm rambling, but that's okay. That's all right. Just be inspired and just let God's love shine upon you. And so I do plan on, after I get off of here, I want to do some container planting with you all. I did a video of a garden center tour, and I have a lot of things that I need to get in the ground or in pots or whatever. And so I want to do that with you guys, kind of fill out my hay racks and different pots that I have on my front porch. And I hope that you guys will stick around. And again, thank you. And I hope that you are able to sow into someone else's life today. All right. See you guys later.
Y'all, it's editing Erica. I wanted to stop in and say my mic failed, but here are some annuals that I bought at Bordine, some Calibrachoa, some begonias, asparagus fern, and a box that we'll be using to plant in my containers this time. My first two planters, I have some Surefire white begonias from Proven Winners that I bought from Proven Winners Direct. They're a great online company to get your annuals, perennials, and shrubs from. And then I also put an asparagus fern in my second pot. I like to add a top layer of land and sea compost just to finish off the pot. It makes it look nice, as well as give the annuals an extra dose of fertilizer.
Okay, y'all, so I had to do quite a bit off camera just so I can have, a little bit of time with my daughter and all that good stuff. So I did quite a bit off camera, but I wanted to come back on before I close out the video and just show you what we have gotten done today. The last time you saw me, I was planting up the hay racks and a couple of planters on my porch, so here they are. I think they turned out really nice. Very simple, and they should fill out quite nicely within the next few weeks. Hopefully we can get some warmer weather, but I'm going to take you up on the porch so you can see. But over here, hello, um, you see I have a pot in the corner there with just an asparagus fern. Don't mind my junk in the house. That's my daughter's little backpack for church. And you remember this pot that we planted up with the boxwood and white and pink begonias alternating. And then we have the surefire begonia over here with the asparagus fern right down below. Right around the corner here is my shade garden. It needs a lot of work. It's still a work in progress. But I wanted to show you the hanging baskets that I did, and don't mind the house. It needs to be power washed really badly. But this is a new begonia that I haven't seen before. It's a Rex begonia. And then the Diamond Frost Euphorbia by Proven Winners. And I just thought that would be nice in the shade to kind of fill out there. And in my circle bed, you see that I have a smoke tree surrounded by catmint. This is Summer Magic catmint. I found it one year and divided it up, and then I can't find it anymore. I'd like some more because they get pretty huge. So as a ring around, a little swoop around, I planted some more of those white begonias. I thought that would be just a nice little pretty accent around this bed. We back up there. That'll be nice and pretty. I added some more catmint here and right there, just to kind of fill in this drift of Cat's Pajamas Nepeta in my redbud way. You can see that redbud right there. That flamethrower with its beautiful red, orange, and yellow leaves. I also limbed up my Karma elderberry. This thing grows super fast, you guys, and just fills out. Ooh, there's the sun. And you can see my leftovers down there. I was also able to get in the salvia, these violet salvias, little swoop there. And these are in front of my Skyview hydrangeas. They died back all the way to the ground, you guys. And that's okay. I'm just going to let them grow, see what they do. Oh, excuse me. But here's just a little peek of my garden, my spaces that I have. It's still in development, y'all, but we're making progress. All right, guys, I just wanted to come back on and show you what we've done, what we've accomplished today. My pile is going down, believe it or not. It doesn't look like it. But I just want to say thank you guys for watching. And if you like this content, I would love for you to join my Sow Heart-E Garden family. And please like and subscribe. And let's keep sowing together. All right. Bye.